here. It's been a long time since Warframe received such a well-designed frame with interactive powers and a different mentality when it comes to modding. Nidus was added in update 19.5. It's an infested themed frame that is capable of doing very high level content and has a lot of power interaction. In this video, I'll show you the build I use for Nidus that has very high power strength and high crowd control capabilities. This is Undying Virulence Nidus. Nidus gains mutation stacks while hitting enemies with Virulence. The first 5 stacks give 50 armor each, stacking up to 250 extra armor. Nidus's base armor is 450, which is pretty high. Considering all this, Arcane Guardian is a very viable option to get to make Nidus even tankier. Although Arcane Guardian will help you take much more damage initially before you can get the parasitic link off, it's definitely not necessary, as Nidus can hold his ground on his own. Nidus is a very versatile frame. As the mission progresses, he gains a lot of damage from mutation stacks, has good survivability with parasitic link, good crowd control potential with larva, and decent healing for teammates and defense objectives. This build focuses on good power range and extremely high power strength that will allow you to do very high level content. Corrosive projection for aura, cunning drift in the Exila slot for extra power range, vitality for base survivability, primed flow for a high energy pool, blind rage and transient fortitude for power strength, rage for energy regeneration, prime continuity for power duration, stretch for high power range, and streamline for better power efficiency. This build has very high power strength that shreds through high level enemies when it gets some mutation stacks. It also gives you maximum 90% damage reduction from parasitic link, as well as 71% damage increase when you use it on your ally. Using flow will give you a big energy pool, which in turn give you more flexibility and margin for error for power use. Sometimes you won't hit 4 enemies with Virulence, which won't refund its full cast cost, which in turn will severely hurt your energy. Even though the negative efficiency also increases the refund, it does not decrease the initial cost, for which you will often not have enough energy, especially without streamline. Primed flow ensures that you always have a big energy pool to use larva or virulence. You're able to go ranged or melee play with Nidus, whichever you prefer more. Larva gathering up enemies will work extremely well on rifles with punch-through mods on them, or melee weapons alike, since they hit all enemies in range. Explosive weapons such as Penta, Tonkor, or Zar will utilize their area of damage potential on targets inside larva. Weapons with init punch-through such as bows or some sniper rifles, shotguns or assault rifles with punch-through mods on them will be extremely effective as well. Gas procs on weapons such as Lanka will be very good too. You build mutation stacks with Virulence. Going extremely high efficiency is not necessary, since each enemy that you hit will replenish a portion of your energy spent to cast Virulence. At the start of the mission, get at least 1 mutation stack. Using that, you will be able to use parasitic link on an enemy, which will reduce your damage taken by 90%, making you extremely tanky. As the enemies will be attacking you, you will be replenishing energy, and that will allow you to use Virulence to build more stacks, or use larva to gather enemies up to make Virulence casts much more efficient, and more often than not, refunding its used energy cost. Once you get 3 or more stacks, you will be able to use Ravenous. It gives a good amount of health regeneration that also heals allies and defense objectives, while still providing good crowd control. Ravenous also spawns units that draw enemy aggro and attach to them, dealing damage. On explosion, these units will contribute to mutation stacks as well as have their damage increased by them. You can also detonate them by using Virulence, which will speed up the process of getting more stacks. The more mutation stacks you have, the more damage your abilities will do. If you have 10 or more mutation stacks, while receiving lethal damage, you will instead become invulnerable and be healed to 50% of your HP. This gives you a good window to reposition yourself and get out of bad situations. Since Nidus doesn't really require much more survivability or even damage for his abilities, a lot of arcanes could be viable depending on the playstyle you pick. Arcane Avenger will help deal more damage, while Arcane Energize will allow you to keep your energy pool up in lower level missions. Nidus is a very versatile frame that can hold his ground, has increasingly good damage as the mission progresses, as well as fairly good supporting capabilities for his teammates. Having such good power synergy and being able to do very high level content, Nidus is one of the most interesting and fun frames to play. This is Undying Virulence Nidus.